Here on the Colour of Country Life, as we cover the race for the seat of Mildura, it's been a hot one and plenty of candidates. Glenn Milne is one of them, running as an independent. Glenn, how are you going?
Yeah, I'm going very well, thanks, Ricky.
And now just give us a bit of your background. I understand you're on council and among other things, you've had a bit to do with motorsport in recent times.
I've been on council for about 18 years. I've done 7 terms as mayor, but also very passionate about motorsport. I'm a press photographer by trade originally and got family connections with the Perkins family, who are farmers in Oyen and racing car drivers. So I followed motorsport since I was a little kid and, love any form of motorsport, motorbikes, off-roads, road racing, you name it. Yeah.
And on the subject of motorsport, and we love it too here on Flow, covering it on the Friday night sports show, there's been some commentary by Ali Cupper about, I guess, whether or what your involvement was with her in terms of a proposal put to council to get some funding for Mildura Motorsport and just where that ended up.
Look, we've been chasing money or funding to build a motorsport track in Mildura for probably nearly the whole time I've been on council, about 18 years. So working with the local motorsport community, we actually got funding to fix up our drag racing track. We've had funding to fix up some of the motorsport stuff for Speedway, but it's the road circuit that we really need money for. And yes, the state government put in about $300,000 to try and help, source some funding, but that hasn't come about yet. But you never give up with these things, and I also think there's other ways to do it, and we might need to look at maybe raising money within the community and start small and build it up from there.
Well, Ali Cupper's implying in her comments on social media recently that it sort of landed in the lap of council. She claims she secured that $300,000 of funding and then it sort of died from there. I'm putting words in her mouth, but where did it end up landing?
Yeah, well, look, the money is sitting there, and it's actually to go out and negotiate with investors, but there hasn't been a lot of work done on that, and I think there's a lot more that can be done. How much Ali actually had to do with that, I'm not really sure, but I know a lot of the work, like there's a business case being done by council, and that had some of the best returns on investment for a government project that's ever been seen, and that was like I think first started about $30-40 million, anywhere up to 70, depending how much you did of the project. But that's a lot of money to get investors to get involved in, and really probably the state government should fund it. They fund sporting grounds of other types and football fields and everything like that.
And Kings of Leon concert as well.
Yeah. It seems if you've got a motor, then people don't count that as sport. But if you look at how much money, say, the Formula One brings into Melbourne, putting a motor racing track in a small area, I'd like to have it Winton. It generates a huge amount of income, and they actually pay their own way. So I think the big challenge is for the government to stump up the money for motorsport and, build us a country track in Victoria.
Well, what do you make of the state government's decision to leave Mildura out of the Commonwealth Games hosting rights? A number of other regional centres or cities were included, but Mildura wasn't. What does that mean for this region of the northwest?
It's pretty typical. I don't know that the Premier really knows where Mildura is, and we seem to miss out all the time. I mean, if you look at the funding that goes into Ballarat, Bendigo, Geelong, etc., once you get past that, you don't see much. You don't see much for roads. The government is they've spent around $200 million on every rail crossing they've pulled out. I think they've done 100 of those, and then they offer us $168 million to fix our country roads when it should be, $10 billion. So, we're used to being left out, and I think it's time our state government's actually paid a bit of notice to country Victoria and started looking after us and building us some decent roads. I mean, the amount of money generated by our produce, what it adds to GDP of the country is huge. and the government should look after us a bit better, I think.
Well, Glenn Milne, you're running in the seat of Mildura as an independent. The electorate did vote in an independent last time in the form of Ali Cupper. What's your case for why people should change horses and go with a different independent? Why have you decided to run?
Look, I'm a conservative independent, and I've got a few different views on a number of things than Ali, but I am very keen to see the Murray Basin Rail project fixed up so we can get our freight system working properly and get our freight to market on time every time. I want to see money spent on our roads, a far bigger package for that. I'd also like to see a state-wide rating system because rates are a wealth tax after all, so we all should pay the same amount, and country regions, particularly ours, ratepayers have been paying too much and the state government can change that. So my policies, my push for the election are issues that really affect the whole region. They don't just affect Mildura. I'm not Mildura-centric. I love travelling through. I like to see what's going on in Ogham, Witcher-Proof. I attended the last King of the Mountain. That was a long time ago. I've got a big interest right across our community, and it's a great area, and I want to see it looked after properly by the state member and the state government.
Now, Glenn, when you say you're a conservative independent, I never put much faith in the polls, but if you do believe them, the margin is narrowing in this state election regarding Daniel Andrews, Matthew Guy, who forms government. If it does come to a minority government situation, who would you lean towards in those negotiations?
Look, I'd be going conservative because the Labor Party's done nothing for us so far, and why would they change? And I think they've had their chance, and I would be pushing for a change of government to make sure we get looked after. And the Conservatives have offered a new hospital for Mildura. They've offered a better deal on road funding, and I think there'd be a far better chance to negotiate with them for a better deal for country Victoria.
Well, Glenn Milne, great to have you join us during the campaigning in the final week before the Saturday 26 November poll. Thanks very much for joining us.
No worries, thank you, and keep up the great work. Your station is fantastic, and I love listening to it when I'm travelling through the countryside. So, good to finally get on your station.